Welcome to Dr. CM Edcast, your go-to resource for medical learning. Through discussions, case studies, tutorials, and debates, we help you learn, grow, serve.
You know, when you think about your digestive system, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's just a long tube, right? Something that just processes food. But what if I told you it's so much more than just plumbing? We're about to take a journey into the gut, and I think you'll be pretty blown away by just how complex and, yeah, intelligent it really is.
I mean, really think about it. How does your gut know exactly when to churn, when to release just the right amount of acid, or when to start absorbing nutrients? And it does all of this without you having to think about it for even a second. Well, the answer is in its incredible design, and that's what we're going to dive into right now.
Okay, so let's get our bearings. This is basically the map for our entire journey. What you're looking at is the gastrointestinal tract, or GIT for short. And yeah, at a glance, it looks like one long winding road. But every single part of this pathway, from your mouth all the way down to your intestines, has a very specific, highly specialized job to do in what is a beautifully coordinated process.
So before we can get into the really cool, hidden stuff, we need to understand the basic route. Let's take a quick grand tour, just following the path our food takes from the very beginning to the very end.
It all kicks off in the mouth with chewing, obviously. From there, food takes a trip down the esophagus and lands in the stomach, which is basically this powerful, muscular mixing bowl. Now, the real action happens in the small intestine. That's the main stage for digestion and absorbing all the good stuff. And finally, the large intestine steps in to absorb water and, get the leftovers ready for eviction. Seems pretty simple, but this is just scratching the surface.
That's right. The absolute genius of the gut isn't just in the big organs themselves. It's in the incredibly complex structure that makes up their walls. To really get it, we have to zoom in, way in.
And this is where we go from the big picture to the microscopic. It turns out the gut isn't just a simple tube. It's this amazing four-layered structure, and every single layer has its own critical part to play.
And here we go. This is what I'm talking about. This cross-section shows those four distinct layers that line the entire GIT. From the very inside, working our way out, they all work together like a well-oiled machine. So what exactly do they all do?
Let's walk through it. The innermost layer, the mucosa, is the one doing all the hard work of releasing substances and absorbing nutrients. Right underneath that, you've got the submucosa. Think of it as the support layer, but it's jam-packed with blood vessels and, this is super important, nerves. Next up is the muscularis, two muscle layers that literally squeeze and push everything along. And on the very outside, you have the serosa, a thin protective wrapper for the whole thing. Now hang on to that thought about the submucosa, because it's about to become a major
Okay, so we've seen the architecture. Now let's talk about the control system. And this is where things get really mind-blowing. Your gut actually has its own nervous system. Yeah, you heard that right. People call it the second brain, and it manages pretty much everything locally.
Now what's so cool about this diagram is that it shows you the two levels of command. See that part called intrinsic innervation? That's the gut's own brain, the local boss. But then you see it also connects to the extrinsic innervation. That's the line to headquarters, your actual brain and spinal cord. It's an absolutely brilliant dual control system.
And this second brain has an official name, the enteric nervous system, or ENS. The best way to think about it is like an on-site manager in a factory. It can handle all the day-to-day stuff, telling cells when to secrete, muscles when to move, where to send blood flow, all on its own, without having to bother the main office.
The ENS itself is broken down into two main parts. You have the myenteric plexus, which is tucked right in between those muscle layers we talked about. Its main gig is controlling movement, all that churning and pushing. Then you have the submucosal plexus, which, you guessed it, is in the submucosa, and it handles the finer details like secretions and blood flow. These two work together as the gut's powerful local command center.
So this is really the key idea to grasp. There's a division of labor. The intrinsic ENS is your local manager, just making sure everything runs smoothly from one moment to the next. But the extrinsic nerves, the ones from your brain, are like central command. They can step in at any time to influence or even override the gut's activity based on what the rest of your body needs.
So how does central command do that? Well, it's mainly through two signals. The parasympathetic system is your rest and digest mode. It basically tells the gut, hey, all clear, it's a great time to get to work. On the flip side, the sympathetic system is your fight or flight alarm. If you're stressed or scared, it tells the gut, shut it down, we have bigger problems to deal with right now. It's just a super elegant way for your body to manage its energy and resources.
All right, as if a built-in brain wasn't impressive enough, there's a whole other layer of control going on. The gut is also a massive hormone-producing organ, communicating not just with electrical nerve signals, but with chemical messengers.
Yep, hormones. These are chemicals that get released by special cells right in the gut wall. They travel through your bloodstream and act like little messages, telling other parts of the digestive system, or even totally different parts of your body, what to do. It's a slower, more broadcast style of communication, perfect for coordinating really complex jobs.
And we're not just talking about one or two hormones here. I mean, just look at this table. Don't worry about reading every word, it's just to show you the scale of it. This is like a complex chemical playbook, spelling out what triggers each hormone and what they do. It ensures every player on the team knows the game plan. Let's just look at a couple of quick examples to see how it works.
Let's start with gastrin. So when you eat something with protein, it hits your stomach, and that triggers these specialized G cells to release gastrin. The gastrin then travels through the blood, circles back to other cells in the stomach, and gives them an order. Crank up the acid production. We've got protein here that needs breaking down. It's a perfect, self-contained feedback loop.
Okay, here's another fantastic example of teamwork. When that acidic mush from your stomach squirts into the small intestine, it triggers S cells to release a different hormone called secretin. Secretin then travels over to the pancreas and tells it, hey, we need you to send over some bicarbonate to neutralize all this acid pronto. It's a chemical message that protects the intestine and sets the stage perfectly for the next phase of digestion.
So let's take a step back. We've looked at the physical structure, the built-in brain, and the chemical messengers. And when you put all of these pieces together, what you get is nothing short of remarkable.
And really, this is the main takeaway. The intelligence of the gut doesn't come from just one thing. It's the absolutely seamless combination of its physical layers, its own local nervous system, its connection to the main brain, and its sophisticated language of hormones. It all works together to create this smart, self-regulating system that's working for you 24/7.
When you start to think of the gut this way, not as a simple tube, but as this incredibly intelligent system, it really changes your whole perspective. It's a true masterpiece of engineering. And the crazy part is, we're still just beginning to understand everything it does. It really makes you wonder, what other secrets is our second brain still keeping?